Hi there, Natalie with you today to show you a fun idea on how to combine texture and color using the new Craft Your Life project kit silk art. Come join me. Welcome to a new episode of Inspired by a Card with Natalie. Today we're going to use the new Craft Your Life project kit silk art to create a project, and the inspiration is going to come from this card from Erin. She's part of the design team, and I really love the fact that she used a single family of color but gradiated so that it gives you this depth of color. So I'm going to use that for my layout. So I'm starting by actually creating my flowers, and I'm starting using the stencil of the Project Life from the project kit silk art. You're gonna see that I'm using starting with the darkest color in the family. I'm starting with Rubelite, and I'm just gonna go ahead. I've taped my stencil number 1 onto a piece of cardstock, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cover the entire stencil with this color using my small ink blending tool. So simple as that. I'm dabbing my ink blending tool on the ink pad and then going in a circular motion on top of the stencil until I've covered the entire stencil. Now here I'm going to come with one of the mini ink blending tools, and I'm gonna go and pick up some of the raspberry color, and I'm gonna use this just towards the point where the leaves are closest to the flowers and also to the centers of the flowers. This is just gonna create that depth of color, and it's gonna give me that dark look that I'm going for on the leaves. The original card, she used a lot of reds. I'm using more of those like kind of fuchsia tones for my layout. So once I have that, I'm gonna lift it up, and I'm gonna flip the stencil, and I'm gonna do a second take on the other corner of my cardstock. So you're gonna see very simple. You see that depth of color, you see the dimension. Once I finish that, the stencils have little circles, so I'm gonna mark them with my pencil on my page, and that's gonna help me make sure that I center my next stencil properly. So the next stencil is the stencil number 2, and that's the one that's gonna create the flowers. Now one of the things that I love about Erin's flowers is that she has introduced a second color. You might not see it, but that's what is going to create that beautiful dimension on the layout. So I'm starting with a little bit of strawberry crisp ink, and again I'm going to cover my entire petals with it. Then I'm gonna come in with pink diamond, and I'm just gonna say that I'm going to dab the color from the center of the stencil towards the outside of the petal around 3/4 of it, so that you can see that little peak of raspberry at the end of each one of the petals. Once I've added all the color, again like I said, just think of it as filling just 3/4 of your petal from the center towards the outside of it. I'm going to go into and pick up a little bit of Pinkalicious. I'm going to use my mini ink blending tool for this, and I'm just going to go right to the closest that I can to the center of the flower. That's just going to add the dimension, and it's going to create a soft gradation in the petal. Just give a little bit more of depth and give you that smooth transition of colors. And again, I'm gonna flip my stencil and just do the other the other flower that I'm creating. Once I have that, I'm gonna switch into the next stencil, that's stencil number 3, and this one creates the rest of the petals. For this, I am not gonna use a strawberry. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and use pink diamond. So I'm gonna add pink diamond to the entire petals. Then I'm gonna come in with Pinkalicious and do the same thing that I did before. I'm gonna go 3/4 of an inch fill of Pinkalicious, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of Rubelite just towards the center or the center of the petal, just to add definition. So that's gonna create like a soft gradation between the outer petals and the inner petals. And then I'm just gonna complete the stencil. Everything like the rest of the petals are in this stencil. Once I have that, I have some extra space. I went ahead and created just a partial flower because I think it's gonna benefit my layout. So now that I have that ready, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the coordinating die to just cut the pieces out. Well, I have them ready. Now it's time to add my texture. For this, I'm gonna use the 3D embossing folder that comes in this set. You're gonna see that I've already cut a piece of cardstock. This is 8.5 inches by 4, I believe, but I'm not gonna use it straight on. I'm gonna create a little bit of an angle. I want to create the dimension just at the top and the bottom edges of my page. So you're gonna see that I'm just playing with the formation. Think of it as creating a small triangle at the top and the bottom, and I'm using my big die cutting machine, so I'm able to put the paper through without destroying it. Once I have that ready, one of the things that I really love about Aram's card is that she had a lot of splatters of the colors of ink that she used. I want to add a little bit of shine, so instead I'm going to use the metallic watercolor palette from Altenew. I'm using my watercolor brush number 4 from the Altenew set, and I'm going to pick tones of purples and fuchsias for the background. So because there's no fuchsia on this, I'm going to take some of that purple and mix it with some red just to get a little bit of that warmer tone. And I'm going to make sure that I sprinkle or splatter the watercolor just towards the center of the page, not in the areas where I have that embossed flowers, but more towards the areas where there's nothing embossed. There's going to be a few drops that fall in the flowers, and that's okay, but I want most of it to be outside of the embossed area. Once I have that, I've already cut another piece of paper. I'm creating this layout for one of my 6x8. This is my personal journal. So I have the second sheet of paper 7 inches wide by 8.5, and what I'm going to do is use up those flowers that I created. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 pages together, and I want to create kind of a soft diagonal line that goes from the top left corner and of the layout, and some of it is going to stick to the other side of the page, and I'm okay. I want to have that union of the 2 sides of my layout, and then have another piece on the bottom right corner. Now the leftover piece I'm going to use just to accent, kind of create a triangle. Think of it as zigzag. So I'm going to use that in the bottom left corner of my page where I have the embossed area, and the leftover piece just going to tuck it behind some of the flowers. I am using, these are the alphas from the Live Your Dream collection. I love the script, and it's black, so it's gonna work nicely with my picture. I brought that sticker there that says memories is from the Enjoy the Ride collection, the chipboard stickers. And I'm just talking about we had a online reunion for one of my design teams, so we had I took some pictures, so that's the title of my layout. And just to finish, just to bring that shiny splatters that I have on the texture side of the page, I'm just gonna sprinkle a few of the same color of watercolor just around the title. I'm gonna type my Lenzo journal on some sticker sheet, like clear sticker sheet, and then I'm gonna attach it to the bottom part of the flowers, and that's pretty much what's gonna complete my layout. I love how this turned out. I love the fact that there's texture and it combines it with the flowers and just makes everything pop nicely on this layout. As always, if you want to see more details, go ahead and check the blog. I'm gonna you can find the link in the description. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care.
Hello crafters, Jen here. For more tips, techniques, tutorials, and to discover which paper crafting products are right for you, subscribe to Altenew's YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.